My first grade teacher, they actually have a school named after her in Seattle. She was the best teacher I've ever had. She really got me excited about science.
My second grade teacher, her name is Miss Stransky. I just remember being so excited to go to her class.
Mr. Jose Reyes, a great mentor, a great teacher, a great influence in my life.
My third grade teacher was the one who recommended me for the Gifted and Talented program, and that's kind of the teacher who I was like, I can't let her down.
My fourth grade teacher, Miss Walker, is her first class I got an A in. Because Miss Walker believed in me, I believed in myself, and I wanted to achieve.
I had an unbelievable music teacher when I was in middle school. He just made it engaging. He made me interested in what he taught.
In a way, I do see myself becoming the next Mr. Reyes.
A great teacher can make this happen. He or she can say one sentence, and ever after, the student who hears that sentence can't see the world the same way again. And I don't think anybody who's had a good teacher can say that their life would have been the same but for that teacher.
So 15 times 8 is 120.
We know that when given the opportunities they deserve, kids in our lowest income communities and schools can achieve on an absolute scale. The #1 indicator of student achievement is the quality of the teacher in front of them. We're not going after just any recent college graduate or young professional. We're looking for true leaders because our framework is you can be a successful teacher if you're a leader.
What do we do with the zeros? When I heard about this Teach for America program, an opportunity to try teaching, but also with the idea of being able to do some service, it's going to be more of a challenge, but you have so many more opportunities to make a difference. I knew this is something I definitely wanted to be a part of.
I walked in the first day, I'm like, I cannot believe that some principal made a decision to let me have 90 kids' lives in my hand. You know, the future, their mathematics in my hands.
I wanted to work relentlessly to help my group of students get the education that they deserve and have someone that challenged them to accomplish things beyond what they thought was possible.
People need role models. People need to know that they can look to something and say, yes, I can achieve because I saw that he did.
You get very well-educated kids who could do almost anything they wanted, who actually decided to go into these classrooms and devote themselves to really make a difference in what those kids know.
What I think Teach for America does is that it brings very qualified and very passionate people into the teaching field.
So what I would recommend you to do is write down the 65, and once you're done, just cross it out from the original list.
We tell them that this is going to be the hardest experience of your entire life, but this is what you've committed to for 2 years.
People told me over and over that our students were behind. I started kind of diagnosing where they were. After the first few units, it was clear that we were starting at basically ground zero.
I had kids in 10th grade that couldn't tell the difference between countries and continents.
Half of my class came in about a year behind, which is shocking because they're only in first grade.
In our urban areas, there is unequal access to opportunity, particularly with families with more limited resources.
And the question we have to ask ourselves for America is, where is the next generation of really successful people coming from? Every single kid has certain talents, and those talents should be worked on, and the confidence should be brought into that kid's life at a very early age that he or she can in fact achieve. That's sort of the thesis of Teach for America.
Any first-year teacher will tell you the first few months you are failing and failing again. But that willingness and that perseverance to get up, do it again, look back and see what did work, what didn't work, and that willingness to put in those extra hours. It's the caring and the desire to help those kids is what separates the good teachers from the great teachers.
I feel a lot of pressure to prepare them, not for second grade, but to be lifelong readers and to be lifelong learners.
It's a challenge every day. I go home frustrated, exhausted, stressed out. But on Monday, you know, I come back ready to go. Every single day, every single morning, I'm ready to go. Because even on my worst day, they need the best me because I'm some child's best hope on that day.
Finding the proportion right here.
When it actually comes to what we're doing in the classroom, we're very data-driven. So we have all of our teachers show us, you know, what are you teaching? What is the percentage of student mastery? So that we're actually using data to inform all the decisions we're making across the board.
So let's talk about Q and then let's actually practice this.
Every learning goal that we teach, when we test it, we put it into an Excel spreadsheet. So you see how the class did as a whole on that particular learning goal, or how a student did over all the learning goals.
We track everything in our classroom. Showing them the progress that they've made gets them super excited.
I'm never complacent with where I am, with the gains that I see in my classroom, even with my students' success. I celebrate those success and I'm definitely positive and happy, but I always want to take it to another level.
I think a lot of it has to do with our planning purposefully. Do they understand what we need to teach by the end of the year? How does that break down to what I have to teach this month or today? And then how do we use data to actually inform our instruction? Where are the biggest gaps in my classroom and what should I be spending my time on?
They're putting good teachers in front of these students and they're impacting results in the relatively short term.
And I think it has kind of revolutionized the way that we look at our kids, the way that we track our kids to make sure they're making progress, the way that we hold ourselves accountable for progress, the way that we hold schools and school districts accountable for progress.
Cornell table in Columbia, you're responsible for finding borax.
It's a job that never really ends. You're always thinking about it. I feel like if I would take a day off, I'm doing them a disservice because there's so much more we need to cover to get these kids to a point where they're going to be successful within our society.
I had a day where I just did not plan very well and my students didn't learn very well that day. And I knew that them not learning that day was a result of me not planning. And so I wrote this letter and I was really harsh on myself. And I told myself that there is an education gap and we don't have days to waste.
I want to see growth. Every single test, I want to see you improving by 10%, 15%, even 20%. For the majority of the students, they just hadn't been held to that kind of standard before. When I tell them, okay, this is a challenge problem right here, they brighten up immediately and they're like, okay, I want to get this, I want to get this, I want to get this. 25 hands are going up. You know, they love to be challenged. We've made 100% growth on our benchmark standards. So we started at 37% and right now we're at a 74%. So we're making tremendous growth.
One of the little girls, Abriana, she started off really behind her peers in her reading, and at semester she had grown, I think, 3/4 of a year or some awesome amount. I remember sitting down with her at the back table, just she and I showed her her graph and I said, here's where you started. I said, and look at where you are now. I said, that is awesome. I said to her, Abriana, I am so proud of you. And she looks at me and she is the cutest little thing. She said, Miss Dolge, I am so proud of you.
Your SAT or ACT is accepted. In addition, you have to take 2 SAT subject tests.
We all know the story and the history of our public schools. Put all excuses aside, put our history aside. This is the time we have to get it right. We can't afford to lose another generation of kids until there is a day where there is equality, where all kids are given the opportunity to attain an excellent education. It will continue to be a civil rights issue.
If you don't let the new ideas in, the old ideas will prevail. And we know the old ideas aren't working. So anything that we can see that's entrepreneurial, like Teach for America, is all to the good.
I have students who want to be doctors. And when they make it through med school, they will have worked 100 times harder than I will have. These students are fighting. They're fighting for everything that they can get.
What we're trying to do is provide kids with the same opportunity to dream and to think big about what they want next in life. And to say, you know, college isn't a maybe, you know, for 1 or 2 people in my class. High school graduation isn't for half of us sitting in this room. It's for every single one of us.
They all want to succeed. They all have dreams. They all have big goals.
This is such a worthwhile endeavor. It is. It's so worthwhile because these students deserve it.
Education is not just textbooks and essays, it's about the future of our country. We have to recognize that our country's future isn't just in the upper echelons of our society. Our country's future deals with the top to bottom. And kids at these schools, they're waiting.
We are here because we want kids to succeed. This isn't about me being the hero and taking and rescuing kids. This is just, you know, like, let me try to help you out here. Because you're smart and you can do this. And if they remember me, and if they are good to other people, and if I'm not there to see it, it's okay. I may not see the end, but I'm glad I was part of the beginning.